earlier.
For the record, we have Dr. Lalonde joining the meeting.
Howdy, everyone.
Hello.
Excuse my tardiness.
Finally, budget committee. It just whip out those teeth like in 4 minutes.
I actually did. It was pretty good. They're fast today.
Will join us on page 8.
Is it just the three of us?
Correct. It's you and Dave on the budget committee, correct?
Yes.
Would you like to start with anything?
Oh, no. Let's see what these guys are giving us.
Maybe we need to restart to kind of give you
Did
the
you?
committee.
I mean, I'm happy to tell you guys what we said. Last time we had an unbalanced budget of out of $2.5 million, right, Charles? And I said, we all agreed that getting a balanced budget was the first step. And we had talked about possibly 10% increase in fees. Since then, I'm not as comfortable as I was when I said that with that idea. And so today we kind of find out how they got things in balance. Looking at this, my first thought is that there may be more things we have to consider getting to that. So we'll see where. With that said, wherever you're at, Eddie.
Yeah. So I guess we're on page 8, just going through department by department. So on department 8, we have, or department 6, page 8. The budget compared to last year has the new lab technician and a vehicle. Those were the major changes to this department. On department 7, the major changes were the vehicle and a set of hazmat suits. Moving on to page 10, wastewater treatment plant. Wastewater includes a new wastewater operator. Also has increased costs for chemicals. There's a big increase there in chemical costs, and a truck under capital outlay. What was denied was the super trucks. Department 10 has no major changes. Department 11, same, no major changes. And Department 12 had a truck denied. And so that's where how we arrived at the balanced budget with a 10% increase on the utility rates.
When would this rate structure take effect?
It would take effect, we have to give a notice of 60 days before the rates go into effect. So we would really only have it for 11 months. So
Because of November?
yeah, so we actually had to cut 1.3 million and finance 1.1 with the rate increase. And so that's, we miss out on any additional revenue for October, and these new rates would start in November as soon as we could start.
Keep going.
Okay, so we already talked about page 16. We can go into the debt service fund. Debt service fund, this is the first year that we have the payment for the new tax bond. We also refinanced the 2012 tax bond as part of that 2022 issuance. We had an opportunity there for some savings. So If you look on page 18, you'll see the, the first payment for that 2022 tax bond. And then right below it, 2022A is the refinancing of that 2012 debt. And this was the tax rate that was approved at the last board meeting. We'll cover that. Moving on to Department 3, the general fund is kicking in $1,035,000 to help finance the projects that are ongoing, including some carry forward from water infrastructure and sewer infrastructure, which I think Charles can discuss the rest of fund 3.
Yeah, the first count of activities, the water infrastructure expenditures, with the first one being the elevated storage tank, $150,000. That's the existing construction contract that at the Annie water tower with O&J Coatings. It's just a work that's going to carry forward in the next fiscal year. So
Page 20, right?
yeah, on page 20, it's going to be the 34, 17, 71, 11 elevated storage tank. That's the Annie rehab. Just this year. And then the other item is 7182, the seawater desalination. That's our study with Nicole. And we did actually schedule the kickoff meeting for September 15th. And so that's to model the intake by the guard shack there at the turning basin and how it's going to interact with the industrial discharge where existing outfall extension is at. So that's about a year's worth of work. We're having our kickoff meeting September 15th. So that's $150,000 in the water infrastructure. As we go to the next page, 21, for the sewer infrastructure expenditures. The first one, 7173, the wastewater treatment plant blowers. That's the next phase of the diesel block blower building for new electrical equipment. So that existing electrical equipment's in dangerous conditions at the end of its life. And so probably working on price right now to try that, to do that one as a by-board proposal similar to the report that we just awarded here in the previous meeting. So we're working on pricing right now on that one. $5,000 request. And then 7188 is lift station 13 restoration. And it's over the Point subdivision. They're at the corner North Shore in Lydia. Basically, I guess about 20 years ago, we had removed a lift station from service. And then there were some sanitary sewer overflows that started creeping up, maybe some occupancy on some houses that have been vacant for a long time. But what we found out basically is that the line, a deeper line, there's two sewer lines there, one's deeper than the second. And that deeper line has active services on it, but it's connected to a abandoned well. So we need to go ahead and restore that lift station and get it back for those services to get working again. So we continued in that request. And then the last one, the 7190, is really for the advanced reuse. The next stage for our Port Isabel water reclamation facility is to start lab work so we can determine the wastewater effluent characterization. It's design data that's a year's worth of work, 30 scientists. And so we got that budget at $170,000 this year. So that's how we had to cut an additional $30,000 to make it work. Everyone said we should be allowed.
Tight, but yeah.
So that's basically the sewer infrastructure request. And then jumping over, the next one is just the lift stations on Fund 39. It's really the TWB loan and prior year commitments that are just going to carry forward into next year with the Marvel construction contract. On that one, we are going to request about a 260-day change order. Because their contract time ended August 9th, but with all these supply delays, they're going to have to get a significant time extension to be able to finish out the contract. So that's basically lift station 4 and 1.4 million. Lift station 25 rehab, we're just holding their damage, 392,000. Next one, lift station 17, 645,000, so finished out. That's over here in Madison, Monroe Valley. Lift station 35 is the back half of Park Center, Court Road, for 70,000. And then one other item we added here was lift station 23, and that's the Texas Pack lift station that we had to cut from the construction contract. But we're able to get that one budgeted and complete the work in-house, so we can take care of that lift station.
Yeah, we're pretty confident we can get that done in-house between us and the electricians and whoever else.
And then it's just the engineering from Three Nichols carrying forward, and then we're hoping retainage for the force main and so the next one is just the water tax bonds, the system improvements. Water plant 1. Now on this one, we did the cash flow operations because we do expect the actual construction contracts to run above our available balance of the fund. But we do have enough cash to be able to get the work scheduled for completion next year using the cash that's in the bank.
So this is what we expect to spend over the next year. The total for the projects, we expect that they will exceed the funds available, but for the coming year, we think that we have enough funds to complete the work through this next year, and that's what these figures represent here.
I'm worried about next year's following year.
You guys, let's just get into the nitty gritty here of what is really driving the cost, which is none of those things, and it's actually salary costs. So you saw me sitting here running through some numbers real quick. I think we got to just throw it out and then decide how we're going to deal with it. 1 second there, I missed one that I want to do real quick. So from 18 to 19, from 1819 to 1920, our salaries went up 7%. From 1920 to 2021, our salaries went up 5%. This year, if we're basing it, I don't have current year, so 21, 22, but if we look at our salaries overall versus 2020, 21, we're talking about a 33% increase. It went 5, 7, 33%. Water plant expenditures, this requested budget over 2021, up 30%. 52% for the lift station expenditures in terms of salaries. 45% or $130,000 for distribution expenditures. Good job for anybody that kept it at 26% or less, I guess, which would be the collections. 20% for maintenance. 55% for our lab. Our lab work is going to cost $70,000 more to do our lab work. I mean, these are things we got to look at. And then our administration expenses up $310,000 to administer the district, or 47%, versus 2021, and another $100,000 on the wastewater plant expenditures. That's a 25% increase. $140,000 on the finance expenditures, which is a 22% increase. $40,000 in the electrical expenditures. That's a 25% increase. $50,000 in the construction and maintenance expenditures. That's a 21% increase for an overall of $1.1 million. And this is just salaries. That doesn't include FICA, unemployment, group insurance, workman's comp, employee HRA, retirement, longevity, or pension. So I don't know how that's tenable for us to be able to look at that. I don't have a great answer for you guys, but when we went from 7% to 5% to 33%, I don't know what we're doing different that suddenly to make this happen for get water to people is 33% higher. Perhaps you guys did that math too, and somebody wants to talk about it, or everybody wants to talk about it.
So we got together Tuesday and discussed that subject right there and a couple of others, trying to reduce the cost. So I did challenge Eddie and the staff to cut, and we have a new proposal there.
Yeah.
Go ahead and.
Yeah.
In response to this, Dr. Lamar,
Yeah, tell me all about it.
part of it is the 8% COLA, and part of it is the additional 5 personnel that we were looking at. and the other is the 2.5% step increase.
You guys all get a 2.5, is that what it is?
Yes,
From one year to the next?
Yeah.
Just, hey, I put another
It's
year,
a-
here's my
it's an evalu-
2.5.
it's based on the evaluation. If you pass your evaluation, if you get a 3 on your evaluation and you pass,
Yeah.
then you're given a 2.5%. And that's been going on forever as far as I
Yeah.
know.
I mean, that's the step, HR step that's
Right.
always been there.
Yeah, now we're at the 20 steps.
Yeah,
We added steps,
yes, we
right?
did.
When we came over.
You all approved that 4 years ago.
I support the 2.5% step. I support a maximum of 2.5% COLA. And I don't know what to tell you guys about the 33% overall. You can't just tell everybody like, hey, we gotta pay.
Well, the additional personnel that are being added, as I explained to the chairman and Mr. Donahue, is that we have several departments that are struggling, and they're adding one additional personnel, distribution and lift station. On the wastewater side, we need another personnel at Laguna Vista wastewater plant because of safety issues. There's only one person out there. If anything happens to him, then nobody's gonna know what happened to him for hours.
How long have we had one person there?
It's been a while.
So why do we need two now? If it's been one forever.
Should be that
way.
Should be two.
It sure used to be.
It should not.
And not to
If you guys
mention
said
that-
like, what is the most important employee we have to hire? That you guys think?
Let me just add to that, Laguna Vista one, there used to be two employees, but when they split up the department, the lift stations and when they made that a construction maintenance department, that's when we lost that.
Was then? I mean, I've been there. It scares me standing up on that walkway. I wouldn't want to be there all alone. I can understand that. I just am wondering like, which is the 5 guys that we propose hiring, which is the most essential that you guys think? 5.
You know, 5 or 3.
You know what?
Yeah, I mean,
You
hey,
know what I thought that was.
I want to hire 10.
We gotta
Well,
get projects done and
He's asking.
you
The
get some
other-
raise,
the other-
you get some neutral, you can only get so much.
One of the other employees we're
Because
looking
it
at
starts
is
all over next
distribution.
year.
We're spending a lot of money in the valves that are frozen, and we haven't been able, we're having to replace a lot of them. And the reason we're adding this additional person is to help with the exercising those valves, so we don't have to go through the cost of what we're doing now.
And that,
replacing
and
those
that's
valves.
not a one-person job either.
No,
You know, you're talking 2, 3 people to exercise hundreds of hours or whatever the case is that's through the district. And a lot of times it takes 2 guys just to exercise one valve at one period of time.
it requires somewhere around 200 turns.
I mean, with,
That's why we call it exercise a valve.
Yes, sir.
well, yeah, I mean.
Real deal exercise, huh?
I mean, not,
It's
and
not
to
only the
add to
valve,
that,
but the personnel as well.
and to add to that, to not being able to exercise it for quite some time, we're taking the risk of them breaking in an open or closed position, which presents another issue. So we've been trying to get this program going a couple years ago, we talked about it. But shortfall of personnel, us being so busy with water taps and leaks and just in general, just staying real busy, makes it very difficult, very challenging. I think we did it once with a plant operator. One day, we kind of experimented, and we realized we need 2 people out there.
We've also been helping them out on the flushing, operator with the water plant. We send some guys out there to help them with flushing, but then they didn't work. And, following we have been talking, we need to do the flushing, and personnel they're gonna have is to help them do the flushing.
If you recall, the last time we met with the committee, I mentioned to you that I need at least 4 people. I'm hoping to get at least 1 this year, if possible.
You wish you could get 4 more guys,
I need at least 4 more guys.
and you're saying I have to have 1 more guy. Yeah.
I'd be happy with getting 1, but if you're to tell me, hey, Joel, wish list, need 4 more guys. Then I can have a program on the flushing and exercising of the valves. And sometimes what happens is I have one guy with, right now with all the construction that's going on the water side, I gotta have an inspector there with the contractor, making sure that the work is done with the material that we want, the way it's supposed to be done. So that pulls out one guy. I just lost two guys just in the past 6 weeks. I've lost two guys. They resigned, went to better, bigger and better things for them.
One's leaving in the Army.
Well, I mean, we're not talking, I mean, those
Yeah.
guys left, but the position.
Yeah,
is
but the
still there.
position
We're
itself-
just talking about, hey,
Yes, sir.
creating a new position, you want to create one more.
At least
four
one
more
more.
guys.
Reposition.
Yes,
Add one that fell off.
right,
You're talking about create a new position.
correct.
Yeah.
Replace the two, replace.
We're replacing two, but I'm creating a new position to try and get those programs that we want.
As I stated earlier also, even though water plant is currently helping out distribution as much as possible, they still need another person for the next year whenever the water plant one opens, because they need to get that person trained, get him with a C operator's license so that he can operate the plant as well. They need at least a C license in order to operate it. And it takes them about 1.5 years to 2 years to get that license.
This is the first I remember sitting here with such.
And what I've seen is that other departments, they come up and say that their department is the most important. So every department's important. So that's
It's not a position,
one
it's
of
going more.
one of the things I've
Have our
heard.
own important department.
Yeah.
This was just here.
Why do you think we're sitting here with this sort of shortfall?
We don't have enough income.
Yeah.
That's what I
Well,
learned.
That's
A big part of the shortfall in revenues is the continued water restrictions, right? We're not getting the revenues that we're used to getting because we're now under severe water
Selling less
restrictions.
water.
My water projections, my revenue projections for next year include a shortfall in water consumption due to the water restrictions. We expect that
I look at
to
this
continue as
two
well.
years, I look at this year and next year when I look at the budget, I don't just look at this year getting by.
Yeah.
We also got a plan for next year, I mean, you got to say, without, you can't reduce, I mean, if you need supplies, you need supplies, you need people, you gotta have them, that's not what the system is.
Also consumption, compared to 5 years ago is 200 million gallons less than it was 5 years ago. We attribute that primarily to the smart meters. Now people are finding out about leaks very quickly, where before they had to wait until they got a high bill, which could be a month before they find out that they have a leak going on. Now we're letting them know very quickly that they have leaks going on, and so our consumption has gone down a lot.
But what does consumption matter compared though to revenues? We'll care about.
Well, the consumption is what leads to the revenue. So
Yeah, but if
we
it's
sell-
leaking stuff, we don't make any money off of that, right?
We sell, yes, we do. We do make the.
Oh, you're saying leaks in somebody's house, okay, I
Yes, what
understand.
we credit people is just the sewer portion. If they ask for it, we give them a credit on the sewer portion, but we still make money on the water portion.
I see what you, somebody's got a running toilet, now they find out about it sooner, and so
Correct.
we're not making money on that, unfortunate, it's.
That's right. We still make money on the water
Consider
side. Now we
consider
just
the building and
partial
everything that's
credit.
going on, like the golf course and all this stuff. I mean, New homes, you're putting 100 new homes on the roster every year.
Yes, so that's a big part of our revenue. If you look at our revenue page, we have,
It's like $100,000.
we have like $100,000 in new taps, and that's pretty consistent.
That's
If you
just the
look-
taps,
If
though,
you
right?
look over the past few years, it's pretty consistent, right around $100,000 that are coming in every year.
Just in taps.
Taps,
But
yes.
that's not counting the water too.
In the water's
Yeah,
another.
we anticipate new connections as well in the formula for the revenues. And our revenue projections are pretty close every year. we're doing a good job.
Is this revenue with 10%? Is this revenue projected with a 10% increase?
Yes. Yes, it is.
That's with a 10% increase in fees.
Correct.
Then you'd say, oh, our revenue would be 13,700.
That's right. That's right. No, what we could discuss as well is, Mr. Alban did challenge us to see what a proposed budget would look like with zero rate increase. And we can talk about that if you want to. We could see the kind of cuts that would be involved in doing that. Do you want to see that proposal?
Tell us off the top of your head what you cut to do that.
Okay. So, basically,
Do we have that, or this is just you?
He's got one.
I have one. You have another one?
He's got one.
Okay, here.
Thank you.
Yes. So, what we cut on here is zero new employees. We cut most of all of the vehicles and most of the equipment as well. We also cut one project, and we reduced the chemical expense on water plant. And we also reduced the cost of living adjustment from 8% to 5%, which is half of what we actually think it would be. And that's how we got here. We can go page by page if you want to look at it.
You reduced the revenue too.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
As far as the capitalized,
Zero
Without
water,
the 10%?
yes, zero water and sewer rate increase.
as
So
far
this
as
is where
the
we-
capital items, the only thing that were left in there was two pumps for the lift station.
Mm.
Personnel were all cut. Also cut the, what is that, effluent?
Oh, yeah, the next step for our water reclamation facility, which is about a year of lab data, that got cut.
That's the project.
What page is that on, Eddie?
What page is what?
I think that's the track we need to stay on, but I'm not in favor of not cutting out. You're gonna have to give the supplies on eating, upgrades, you're gonna have to get some. All these new trucks, you have to get some of the new
Yeah,
employees, so
we're not gonna
we have
get-
to meet in the middle on that.
Yeah, we're not gonna get, this budget here, doesn't give us everything we need, right? But it gives us, some of the most critical things that we need, which is, and those two pumps are the most critical.
Okay.
Because that leads to sewer spills, and we can't have those.
No problem.
This is a budget that works. It's drastic cuts. But
If I may,
that's where we would have to be in order to.
there might be another option without doing a rate increase. Right now, we give 4,000 gallons, I think, for minimum use on a 5 acre 1 inch. We could reduce that to 2,000, 2,500, which is what most utilities do, actually.
Well, we're gonna have to go up on, I mean, rates are gonna have to go up, but people, that's a different fact. But we can't tell people we're raising rates to give 10%. Staff increase, I mean, there's some things that, we have to.
With that comment that you just said, I was talking to the convention center people yesterday, me and Felipe were there. And somehow rumor got started there that we were getting a 10% COLA increase. And it got fired up on social media. I mean, and they're like, oh, congratulations on your 10% COLA. Like, what? I said, no, that's not happening. I mean, it's not. Well, no, we heard here that they were talking about you guys. I said, no. So I don't know if you guys might have picked that up on social media or not, but
I haven't seen
I
it.
can't say I look at
gotta-
social media. Listen, it's a
gotta
touchy
look at-
subject, you guys. It's the worst. I hate sitting up here having to be like, oh, here I am, having to decide how much you guys get for an increase. I hate doing it with my own employees, and I double hate doing it here because there's 75 people depending on it. I think we've tried to be as fair as we can over the last several years, and I feel like we have been pretty fair. I'm glad we have a 2.5 step. I'm glad we voted in another automatic 2.5 in the CPI. I think you guys probably need some new employees. I don't want somebody to be walking alone up there, or, we got other things we gotta check, so.
Stress, safety, all that, so that's no problem.
We can't just, and we know there's gonna be expenses we don't expect when there's a break under the bridge and we gotta go do something like that. But you guys probably know at the same time, when you see $310,000 increase in the administration salary, it's like, okay, that's hefty. That's a 50% increase. We gotta tamp it back. We gotta figure out somewhere where we gotta save on that. And this isn't in the old days, it was like, all right, cut the Chevy Traverse and we meet our budget. But, it's a little bit more challenging this time, right?
Well, in the administration department, they're already training the water superintendent.
It's part of the
and
succession
sewer
plan.
Superintendent, which is part of the succession plan. And so, we've already brought them on board, and so that's what's causing the increase in that particular department.
Might turn into a succession plan. That's an increase, really separating that away from a water district.
So how do we want to proceed?
And we prepared two different proposals. One that the budget committee suggested, the other one that Mr. Galvan suggested, the zero rate increase. Any direction from you all, we'll see what
do we have? Are we tied into 10? And we want to get some of this stuff by going 5% or something. Increase. So 10% increase. On rates? Yeah. Sure. But that'll give some leeway instead of zero increase rate. If you're not going up on the rates, you're never going to catch up on the rates. No. You have to. Yeah, I agree, but that's a subject no one likes, but.
One of the things that we talked about is maybe mid-year, like in April, maybe if the board decides on an increase, we can look at it at that time, and not a whole lot, just a little bit at a time. That's what we've been doing the last 5 years, and we haven't heard too many complaints on that. I don't know, many
A lot of people
on
too,
increase.
this
Is a small amount that, like a year, like $1 or $1.50 on the water side, and I think that's how much, very little, but it still increases our revenue.
And that's not a bad idea, because a lot of people just don't realize that the rate increase or the rate tax that we approved was for what they already voted on.
Yeah.
And they don't remember what they voted on, so they're going, hey, you gave us a rate. I said, no, that was already voted on, so let maybe hold it off, not put it right next to it.
Yeah, so like this year, this year what was included in the rate plan was basically a 3% rate increase. And that's where you see the increase in revenues here, approximately 600,000 out of that 3% rate increase.
And I think we need a 5% rate increase every year going forward. Yeah, so we have a long period of time with zero inflation, which I think we just got out of that. We're not looking at it anytime again. It's coming up.
Well, I like what he says about maybe wait till April, but in the same token, we can justify the increase because everybody knows inflation's going. Everybody knows that.
5% is a lot easier to sell to people than 10.
Yeah, and that's what this plan has. As far as, well, on the COLA itself, it's 5% COLA.
No, I mean 5% on our
I mean, like
utilities, rates, utility rates.
I'm in favor of 5% overall for the 2.5 step and the 2.5 COLA. I have a hard time justifying any more right now. If we're not going up in rates, I just think it's almost impossible to do.
You're eating up the bottom line.
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, I'd be open to looking at it again come the spring,
when we save money.
I'd be open to saying, hey, 5% now, and you guys get your step, and the 2.5%, you're having a hard time holding on to your man. And then look at it again in April or something like that. Hey, what's inflation been like over the next 6 months? Has it been flat? Has it kept creeping up.
So does that give us room to keep the proposed positions in the budget?
And then keep some positions. Like I would say, let's hire some people, 2.5 plus 2.5.
I'm in favor of all that.
And then looking at it again, I'm open to saying, hey, we're gonna do a March, 6 months into our budget review of what had, and you come back and say, this is what the inflation has been for the first 6 months of the year. I mean, we all know, right? We all go,
We revisit this
stuff.
budget all the time.
Inflation was running real hot. Gas is, we've all seen the gas pumps. It's come down a little bit, so it's not quite as heavy as it was. So this is like sitting up here as business owners, and as the administrators of these things, this is all the tough choices we're all making. I mean,
Well, what I would recommend is just to make it easy and go with the last proposal that we have there. And we'll look into it, for next spring, April, maybe March, look into it.
You said
And,
without the increase, right?
Yeah, in order for.
No employees and no,
In order for a rate increase to take in effect halfway through the year, right, we're talking about April to September, right? We need to give 60 days advance notice. So the notice would have to go out in February, at the beginning of February.
no, we're
So-
talking about a review in 6 months, so possible increase in 8 months, right? I mean, I think we got
But
to
it
put
takes
6
2
months in
months,
here.
you have to post, that it takes 2
I
months.
get it.
Yeah, the mail outs have to go out 2 months ahead of time. So it would have to go out in February. So are we talking about scheduling a rate increase in April?
I
and
would,
then
I
we
would
can-
propose an immediate rate increase of 5%, meaning 60 days from now, right? 60 days from now, or whenever we voted, 5% rate increase for the whole.
And to clarify, is that in addition to the 3 that was already
Yes.
built into here? Okay.
I mean,
Now,
this is not what
This
this is just me throwing it out there. Like, when does the 3% take effect?
October.
So I would,
So those notices already started to go out because,
I don't know if I would wait until, because
you do 3% and then when would you do the next 5%?
you could do it anytime you all decide to. It's just an addendum to the,
But this does not include a 3%.
no, not rate.
Yes.
Does not include a 3%, it does.
It does.
which one? The alternative proposal
Yeah.
includes the 3%
Yeah.
because that's what part of the 5-year rate plan that was already.
That's already in there,
Yes.
right.
So this is the final year of the 5-year rate plan.
If we do the additional 5%, Dr. Lalonde, as you
Yeah.
suggested, and we cut the COLA from 5% to 2.5%, we can probably add 3 to 4 additional personnel that are needed in the field.
Not 5, 3.
Well,
But
I
that-
mean, I'm looking at least 3 based on the 5% increase and the 2.5% cut. It may include all 5. It may include all 5, but I'm looking at least 3.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that, like what you just said, but I would be in favor of increasing rates higher and faster. Like not necessarily 3% in
That also
October.
curbs
So-
your usage, and that curbs, your drought, that solves the drought problem fast.
You could do 3% now, 3% in 5 months, and do three
Right,
3% raises over the
Yes.
course of the next year. I'd be in favor of that too.
Okay.
That's effectively 10% because of 3% on top of the 3%.
Or you better just doing one, because if they keep seeing,
I don't know, do they see it?
if they keep,
I
yeah,
mean, we send out the flyers with the
No,
bills.
they might just read it and throw it away. And they
It all
send the
depends,
flyer.
I mean, I'd kind of leave that up to you. You guys look at it, you know more. Do you want to do 1 10%, 1 3%, a 3%, or a 3 and a 5%? I mean, I'm open to all those things. But I think we have to do more than the 3%. I think we have to do at least an additional 5%.
Okay,
at some point.
so what we're looking at is like, say 5% would be 2.5 on the water and 2.5 on the wastewater side,
5% on all of it,
Just
That
the
would
water.
be 2.5%.
on all of it.
Yeah.
5 total. Raise sewer and another thing, 5%.
It'd be 5%,
So with-
5%.
I would recommend that we start like notifying, like getting all the calculations and everything, notifying in January and start like in March, 60 days after that for the new increase.
In doing that, and in conjunction with cutting down the COLA to 2.5, will we be able to get some of the capital items that were cut off? Like
Hope so.
vehicles? I mean, I know it's a pain with the vehicles, but they are in need because some of the departments, they have to travel, the manager travels with the crew. And he can't split the crew with
For
somebody else.
me, it's 2.5 step, 2.5 COLA, at least a 5% on top of the 3%, and wherever we end up, you guys decide. You need cars, you want employees, or, I mean, what do you
It's all
want?
the income you
That's
got,
up to
that's
you.
the money.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. That's not a, I don't know. You want a car or an employee?
That'd be great.
Both.
Yeah, right? I mean, you know, maybe you get a really quick employee who can just run.
That
Like
would
a
be great.
car, you can't carry a lot. Yeah. That would be up to you guys. I don't want to micromanage it. I don't think you
So
need
there's a
to.
2.5 COLA plus a 2.5%
Plus their step.
step, so
Yeah.
it's 5%.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what,
Okay, so
2.5 step, 2.5 COLA? Yeah, that's it.
And then, the rate,
Lost
a
that.
rating. A 5% rate increase.
I mean, I'd love to see you go for it, Scott.
Just a positive.
So, we'll work out the numbers for, September the 14th meeting, and
Next week's meeting.
I think the question is, when do you want to do a 5%?
I recommend it, like I said, like work on it January and then, activate it in March.
And I'm in favor of if you wanted to do it sooner. And if anybody who doesn't understand, they can watch the video of us, him and Han today and understand.
Your chemicals are flat out
Yeah.
up
Well, we can do it
60%, that'd be
as soon
pretty
as we can,
Drain the water.
then we can do it for next Wednesday then.
I would even be okay if, I mean, we know we're gonna do it. And we shouldn't try and, pull the wool over the eyes of the public. It has to happen. And
I
so,
just dislike doing it so often.
yeah, for me, it maybe just do one at 8%, the 3% plus the 5%, and just do one 8%, get it over with. Anybody can live with that. They know what the COLA, they see the cost of living. We hit them up one CPI. We could even revote to not have that increase take effect in October, to change the effective date to 60 days
yes.
from the meeting.
Yeah,
That's
we've
right,
already
that's
started
right.
notices, right?
One.
And it looks like
I
it's
think
Take
that's
it
the
one
best,
later.
I think that's a smart way to handle that.
and do it at 8%.
It's easier to explain now.
Yeah, one time, 8%, then we only have to
See.
do this once a year.
That's what it is.
And then you guys take whatever, look at it and decide, what, do we need cars? Do we need capital expenditures? Do we need 3 more employees?
So,
All employees and no expenses? I really would be disappointed to see that,
An 8% start.
quite frankly. I would think we should start with 3 employees and then kind of go from there, but I really think you guys know that better than me.
Dibs on the employee.
Yeah, I mean, good luck. Arm wrestling's the easiest way to solve that, right?
You're gonna win.
I think, I don't know, I think no ways got a leg up on that.
meeting.
It'll be between Joel and, Joey.
What we just said. You can make those numbers work.
We're about the same size. We got it.
It'll be between Joel and Evelyn.
I will still, I'll scratch his eyes out if I have to.
You make those
I'm not
numbers
beyond
work.
it.
All right.
What are we talking about anyway? Do it at the same time.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll work on this.
Now, we did say like you guys decide, but I don't expect, like, when I say decide, that doesn't mean like go buy a couple Teslas to start driving around, like, maybe we're gonna, let's be real safe with that.
We'll send out the packet so you guys will see it before the meeting, it'll be emailed to you, So you'll get it, at least the Friday before, the meeting. And then if you guys have any comments, or you want, us to make changes, we can have those ready for the meeting time.
Good.
And if you want
Yes,
to
I'd
have
like to
another
make
meeting.
sure we see it well in advance.
In
Yeah.
terms of where it's spent on employees, I would prioritize safety and guys in the field. Sorry for you guys in the house, in the administration building, but I would prioritize
They can go to the next.
safety and
item
guys in
real
the
quick.
field. Guys that have one guy in the department and is there all alone, yeah, that's
And that's basically where all the employees that are being requested are at, in the field.
We move on to the next item.
things that'll make us more productive.
So I think that gives us good guidelines to work with. I think the last item that we had up for discussion was the seawater desal.
Correct.
Charles, do you want to take that one?
Well, what I wanted to mention first is that the proposal that we had received from Seven Seas is right there with the power included and then without the power. So for 3 million a day, a plant would cost us 3.97. And then for 5 million would be 3.33. So the larger the treatment plant would be, the less expensive. And then without the power, and the bottom one is that they'll pay for the power, is the 3 million at $5.544 per 1,000 gallons. And that's what per 1,000 gallons. And then for the 5 million would be 390.4. So the question that came up was, what are we paying for our cost in our treatment now? Well, we calculated from 2018 to 2021. If you see the back page on your green packets, there's a yellow page, and past the yellow page, there's numbers are in there, which in 2018, the cost would be $2.12 per 1,000 gallons. It's right after the yellow page in the green booklet. And then 2019, it went up to $2.55, 55.7. And then 2020, $2.71.4. And this past year was up to 318.3. So it's
So with the,
according to our cost of chemicals and electricity and all that, it keeps going higher.
This doesn't
So you're
take
only
into
looking-
account, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, so you're only looking at 72% or 72 cents more per gallon, 1,000 gallons on 5 million?
Yes.
And-
Yes,
Yeah, and this doesn't take into account the lines, right? So like they're not taking that into account, but neither is this, right? That's just a separate,
that's correct, because
That's right.
it's already, the lines are, infrastructure is already
this is just,
installed.
Yeah, the main thing that they don't take into account is the intake structure, right? For the seawater desal. Is that right?
The startup cost and the infrastructure would be ours basically before we get started.
but we don't have to buy water. Right? We don't need water rights that we can suck as much as we want, right? So
Well-
that's,
That's a one.
Do we have to buy?
Well, we have to,
I think we might have to.
Well, we're gonna be buying from them, right?
well, we have to
Right.
create the water rights, like, we still have to apply for water rights, drawn off the sea through the water rights division. But it would be a new water right, with another source.
can people here give us, your thoughts on it? I mean, what do you guys think? You guys live water.
We're also looking into Southmost Regional Water Authority, that they're gonna be expanding their brackish water. And I talked to one of the engineers,
I don't think anyone knows what, or very few people know what that is.
Okay, so that was a project that PUB, which is called Southmost Regional Water Authority. They did a big brackish water, which is groundwater treatment plant, desalinate. And I think they started at 8 million gallons a day. The water district and Laguna Madre Water District would have been included in there, but the board decided at that time that they didn't want to. So that is still out there, that we are still in that association, but we haven't moved forward with
It's an
agreeing on
to
anything.
buy in, and it was,
Right,
the plant is located, past Paredes Line Road on the toll road. And it was set up about 20 years ago.
FM5 is that.
500.
and I believe that the pipeline that was gonna be installed was everything's gonna be included in there for about $2 million. Or the pipeline from,
Port Isabel to connect to.
right, that way, or this way, anyway. But the board decided not to go into it, so we're kind of asking, see what the options are now.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be talking about it Friday, and I invited Scott, since he's the chairman. I invited you to, with a phone call, see what options there is
I'm familiar
available
with the
for us.
project. It was right before I
Right.
came on board.
Right.
And it has to do with, the previous board didn't want to engage because we only had, I think, 10% voting rights on, there was a lot of money on the deal, there were some other things. But that was basically why it was. I mean, it's a water
It
source.
would
It's an
be,
auxiliary water source that's out there.
alternative, right,
Mm-hmm.
but it
It's
would
not
be
the
the same
final
as,
solution.
it would be the same as Seven Seas, where you purchase the water per 1,000 gallons.
Right, and
And
you
I-
could buy into this instantly, or, and have water service to you pretty fast. They have water now. It's an
Yeah.
active plant.
Yeah.
Right. All we need to do is install the pipeline, which is now
Well, yeah, the
20
That's
times
time
more
it was.
expensive than
Yeah,
back then.
probably,
But one of the big reasons that we are looking at desalinization is to protect us from not having water choices. And
Exactly.
so if we sign on to something like that, we're still at somebody else's
Mercy.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. We don't want to be at Mother Nature's mercy or Brownsville's mercy. Because
Yeah.
if suddenly they need water, ours is the first tap that's getting cut,
We're
shut off,
facing that current.
Yep,
right?
so,
So,
Without a supply, we are, some point, there's not gonna be water coming out of the faucet. And this $13 million budget is off the table because you're not gonna have water coming in.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not as comfortable with doing it through Brownsville unless we, could figure out a great way to make it happen.
That was
Where we have
the
guarantees.
support prior for joining Southwest Region.
I would suggest that we solicit competitive proposals from other companies, because Seven Seas is not the only.
They've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, presenting this thing.
Yeah, there's other companies that do this type of stuff as well.
The real way this should go, in my opinion, is we need to build our own desalination plant, and we need to wholesale water all the way west.
there you go.
That's the real way to make it work. We're wholesale waters, just sending water, but that's a long ways to get to that. That would be the ideal solve everyone's problem, to be able to supply water west.
But if we went with 7 Cs in 15 years, we would be able to do that, right? It would be
On
our plan.
yes,
Yeah,
correct.
That would require a lot of maintenance in 15 years.
yeah. But we would, they're gonna make money. They're gonna staff it with their own guys and at
They're a
whatever.
for-profit company.
Yeah, at $4 or whatever, they're making enough money to staff it and
The overhead.
to make a cut. So that means that it would actually cost less money, once we took it over, right? It would,
Right.
because we wouldn't, unless we want to make the same profit, right? So maybe we sell it to other guys for the same amount, and then we're making the cut. Of course,
And again, we're also looking into our own treatment process with the project that's going on at the port with, what was it, the Corps engineers?
Yeah, I mean,
So we have like 3 options or maybe 4, including our own brackish water that we can build. So We're just comparing, see what the best option would be for the district, cost wise and making sure that we have sufficient water.
I'd like to do what Eddie said. Let's get one or two other places to come in, give us a presentation, tell us what they think and see what we can do.
Yeah, I've reviewed a proposal from IDE Technology, like this Israeli company that does a lot of seawater, a few years back, which is kind of the same process. We'll build the treatment plant, just get the water to us, which is essentially, we need to build the intake, whether it's 7Cs or a competitor, and then they can build the treatment facility. The way they looked at their analysis was basically blending the surface water with seawater, like at 50-50. But really, with that take, you're only reducing your diversions off the river by about 10%. So, right.
Is there a minimum amount you have to buy for one or use?
On the second company, IED, yes. They're the same, they approached us at one time and they came about 5 years ago maybe. And I requested from them a cost estimate, like 1,000 gallons and all that. They said, oh, we can get it down to about $1.25 per 1,000 gallons. I said, okay, show me the number, bring it back. And we called and called, and they never responded back. So it's hard to make water, desalination water at $1.25.
Yeah.
But they said they could, and I said, well, bring it over. And
No, I'm just
Never
wondering,
came back.
on the minimum, like if they build this plant, they're gonna expect profits, right?
Yeah.
So what is the minimum usage? So does that cut out what we're already using up in the? We'd have to.
Yeah.
So we don't use that anymore, we'd have to buy from them.
yeah, you have to run it.
To blend.
Or you're paying for it regardless.
Yeah.
Once you start like a 3 million gallon plant, it has to run 24/7 for,
Buying 3
Forever.
million gallons a day,
right.
or whatever your commitment is.
And I kind of calculated like 3 million gallons a day for about a whole year, and it's like 6 million, $6 million for that water. So
Is this 318 number right here, what, like 2022, 23 numbers?
2021.
So like the one that just finished, right?
Yeah,
But not the one, not the new budget that we're all talking about today, right?
not the new bid.
So I wonder like what that cost would be today. I mean, it seems like it might be on par with it.
we have,
Based on the past 5 years, consumption, the
Yeah.
treated water is going down, and what affects us is the less water you sell, and the higher the depletion rates, that number right there is gonna shoot up.
Yeah. What do you guys think about this plant? Seem like, do you guys worry like, we're gonna have a competing set of dudes just working beside us?
Well, the other thing to consider is the 7Cs proposal. Also, they state there's going to be yearly.
Yeah, they
increases
have
for
an annual
inflation.
CPI.
So we don't know what that's going to be.
we don't.
No, but I mean, we have to assume we'll have yearly increases too.
Well-
right?
They'd have to tie it to something.
Just got an 8% today.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Are we gonna have
Very funny.
the budget to update and upgrade that infrastructure
All
when
that
we
stuff,
take it on? I mean, how much
Well-
markup are we gonna provide to the public or add to the public in order to fund all those things in 15 years?
Yeah, like what does it look like 15 years from now, right? When suddenly, because they get to operate a brand new plant, which is when it doesn't need a bunch of
Right.
repairs. And then,
they had to us.
and then, hey, here you go, it's 15 years old, and all the stuff, we give you a 6-month warranty on, like I'm sure that's how it works. But don't worry, we'll sell you all the equipment you need to fix it at a great
Yeah.
price.
It's all
Right.
proprietary and we manufacture it all. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably exactly what it is.
$3 million train goes out in 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you keep the project traditional design, bid, build, and pursue, grant or subsidy opportunities, like with reclamation, we're talking about 25% grant where you won't have to repay a loan. But I mean, in our last job, like this, the list of projects that got sent for the bipartisan infrastructure law, where our project wasn't included on the list, I mean, we had a debriefing with Bureau of Reclamation on that job, and really, part of the issue was just simply the way we maybe filed a weak application. It could have been presented better.
It's the same as the electric car convention.
But yeah,
It's on the conserve energy in California.
You have to get one, but don't charge.
But you can't charge it.
What is
Get one,
the
but you don't charge it.
15.6 million that we have available?
Does that conclude?
oh, the
this-
seawater. Yeah, that's about right.
Does that conclude this presentation?
Yeah, it was just for discussion, the DCL.
Okay.
I think we all agree we want to continue pursuing it, right?
Yes?
Yes,
Yeah, like-
okay.
I was just gonna say, like, in 15 years, we may not have an option, but we shall.
Yeah, right? We might have to do it.
I mean, the way it's looking, we're gonna be out of water at least in a year.
Pretty close. I was walking the Rio Grande the other day and it's pretty close.
I was at,
Looks like a
I was
creek.
at dinner last night and Governor Abbott was there as well. And he had like a little closed door session with a couple people, which was not me. But the number one thing they talked about was water, I was told.
For the state.
Yeah, and this was up in Laredo. And so they were talking all about, you know, how we're in Laredo, how are we gonna get water? And we're the last guys on the line. And
You should have been there too.
I wanted to be.
Hey.
I wanted to be. I just needed $25,000 more dollars. So,
Couple of
anyways,
fillings.
We have 15 minutes.
but, yeah, just to be
For
there was
peace out.
enough. Anyways, I really think we gotta continue it because, South Padre Island, though, down there, I mean, we kind of get treated sometimes like secondhand citizens in the valley, and, you know, especially if Austin happens to be a red guy in the house, and, you know, we're always voting blue down here, sometimes that makes it tough for us. So I really think that politically wise, we gotta look after ourselves. I'm big on the desalinization and the reclamation. You just, you know, you can't when there's no water, it becomes a totally different thing, right? It's
That's right.
nobody,
Jackson,
it'll be
Mississippi.
cutthroat. It'll be cutthroat at that point. Hey, tough luck, but we're taking the water up here. We got starving kids in Laredo, right? Like, that's how it'll be. So, and the other side of the river too. I mean, yeah, they're not,
So what?
especially with, you know, Obrador in there. I mean, he'll be like, too bad, America, we're taking all the water.
Yeah.
We're diverting it. I mean,
The best option that we're looking at would be to utilize the 15.6 million that is available for us now. But we haven't sold those bonds yet. It was approved in 2012, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
good funding for the in-chain.
So we're trying to use that fund to start up our own treatment, which that's quite a bit of money, 15 million. So hopefully we can find something that's
Need to verify
more
that that's
feasible
still
and-
accessible.
yes. We have accessibility and all of that.
The money's still
Yeah, we
accessible.
Right.
wanted, I think, you know, talking
AG's
to our attorneys, I think we wanted to show the study that, to help us prove that it's still an active project that we're working on.
Yeah, well, I guess the last advice from bond counsel is, you know, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission with the Attorney General at this stage. So,
Sell the
but
bonds.
technically, you know, it can work.
Okay. Oh, that's it. That's
do we
all
have
have.
trouble with the Attorney General?
Well, I mean, in terms of the way it's worded, it can already be built in Portisville versus South Padre Island. The letter to the Attorney General would be requesting a relocation from South Padre Island to Portisville. But with the politicalization of things now, it's better to not even make that request at this stage. I mean, that's kind of the general
As
issue.
long as it's seawater desal, comes in and out. Anyhow, that's it for tonight.